Hey, sir,
Hey,
how you doing?
hey, doing great. How about you, man?
Doing well. Happy New Year. I hope
Happy
you're
New
feeling
Year.
better. I know you were a little ill for a little bit there.
Yeah, feeling pretty much back to 100% almost.
Your voice sounds good. You sound back to normal.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. You sound totally
coughing a
like
little bit,
put it
but
down.
yeah, thank you. How's everyone doing?
Very well.
Great.
I mean, we're
Ready
practically
to
there. You're
Yeah, the New Year's how's it treating you, everyone, so far? Been For me, it's been pretty good. Gotten got a lot done recently. It's been nice after getting over COVID.
Yeah,
Got a lot of things in the works.
I've been like a machine. Like I've just been like I don't necessarily ever set resolutions, but the reset of the year is just like always a reset for me to like kind of like look at everything, see how I can do things better. So I've just been shipping like on my end. I've been doing a lot of research for some projects that I'm like coming up with personally. I've been doing a lot of like, just the work that I normally do, and it's just been good. It's been really, really busy this first week, but like good busy.
That's great. I feel very similarly. Like, just there's something like it. Like, really, January 1 is no different than I don't know, like August 1. It really shouldn't be a difference, right? But mentally and maybe spiritually or whatever, it is totally different. Like, feels very very different to look ahead and be like, okay, here's what we accomplished in 2022, and here's the year ahead, and let's take stock and kind of catch our breath. With I think the holidays help, obviously, and you just get a little break. And I feel very similar in the futuristic. Like, it's gonna be a good year.
it was I had the pleasure of making the Aavegotchi 2022 montage. So I really got to see like everything we've done this last year in that process. And after doing that, I was like, man, I gotta take at least 2 weeks off and sit still because that's the only time I'm probably gonna get before we kick off again here to like you say, kind of set some milestones and get a roadmap for yourself. So, I'm ready to go. I had some time to like do some of that, and I think 2023, like Futuristic said, we're all going to be grinding. So I'm ready. I'm ready for that.
That video was fantastic. You should drop it again in the weekly hangout chat just for the culture.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
We've already gotten a couple ships out this week, this year. If you guys haven't already, I'm sure most of you probably have, but head over to blog.aavegotchi.com and subscribe. We finally figured out the issue that was blocking people from subscribing on the blog. So that is now resolved, and you'll be able to sign up, and you'll get whenever we publish a new blog post, it'll get dropped into your inbox. Be pretty nice. So that's definitely kind of noteworthy, and we're also getting ready to drop something interesting on fakegotchis.com. So just need a few moments for that.
Yeah, there was a tweet about that. I can drop it here in a minute if somebody else doesn't. And that is that we've been working in the back on getting some nice leaderboards going on fakegotchis.com. And it seems like the best leaderboard to lead with is a little shout out to everybody who's been collecting these fake gotchis. So it makes a lot of sense to highlight them. And so the first leaderboard list is for the collectors who are collecting the unique Aavegotchis. In the sense that, like, for me, I probably got, I don't know, way too many of the Gotchi mode GM fake Gotchis from Zbot. In that case, that would count for 1 point for me, right? Like, this is unique, various different fake Gotchis. So it's all about how many of the different types of publishing you've collected, not at like 2 or 3 or 4 editions of the same piece. And so based on that data, we're going to have a nice little leaderboard here to push. And I think the announcement was that whoever is at the top of that list when we publish it is going to get themselves a cool little fake Gotchi card sent their way. So we'll make a note of it, and we're very happy to gift a fake gachi card to the top collector. Unless it's, of course, me or Coder Dan, then we'll let it slide.
I think you got me on this one, sir.
I mean, I am a fan of the fake gachis. I mean, we all are, but we'll see who comes out. I don't think it's going to be me. I might be top 10 if I'm lucky. Might be no futuristic. If it was,
I was gonna say,
collector to place it in the Gachiverse, it's got to be no futuristic, right? I'm pretty sure. I'm not putting it up. I don't have enough display cases to match futuristic, to be honest.
Well, we were talking about it on District 420 yesterday, and I was secretly knowing that this was happening. I was like going in and bidding on all the pieces I didn't have on the GBM that were very cheap, and then sweeping the floor quietly yesterday of pieces that weren't in my collection already. So I think I'm up to 75 unique artistic pieces, not artists, but like unique pieces, 75. So I don't know how many have been released at this point, Aavegotchi wise. Do we know how many cards have come out?
There is a Dune Analytics, right? We could go take a look. I don't know, but it sounds like already you're climbing the ranks compared to when I looked at it, a week ago when we were setting up this idea to go ahead with this particular leaderboard. So we'll see what happens.
Have you guys seen that dashboard? I posted it a couple days ago. Maybe yesterday.
I'm going to go find it right now.
All right, it's just getting the commit here. So we'll be live with some fake Gachi leaderboards here in just a moment, guys.
I like how this really encourages, getting a diversity of different fakes to your collection. Like no futuristic, you're maybe looking at a few pieces you wouldn't have otherwise considered, or scooping them up on what looks like a deal. But it definitely gives you a different lens to look through when you're looking at the auctions or even the explore page.
Yeah, and there is like so many pieces. Like I had to keep going back and checking within my own profile to make sure I wasn't picking up pieces that I already own, because there's so many of them, and I've bid on so many pieces over the last couple months that I'm just like, I don't even know what's in my gallery anymore. Yeah, actually, Hefe and I were working on our D420 or block party, as we might be renaming it. We were working on our parcels. Hefe, did you finish your parcel last night? Because you said that you would try to have it done by this morning.
No, not even, I didn't even start. We cleared everything. Like I cleared everything off my parcel, and then I thought, well, I'll really just put some more thought into it before I. I might do a little bit here on our stream while we're chatting, but yeah, I didn't actually follow up on that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to my parcel now because I finished it yesterday. I went with a more simplistic design. I went into my vault and grabbed a whole bunch of grass and tiles and just kind of decked it out. So now I think, I'm not sure how many displays are on this one. It's a spacious. I'm showing it on my screen now. I got to put a bounce gate up because I destroyed the bounce gate. I tried doing something slick yesterday. There was all this negative space on the parcel, and I have 50 bounce gates in my wallet. So I tried putting all 50 on the parcel because they would all jump together at the same time, which I think would look cool as hell. And it stopped me. It was like, no, you can't. You can only have one. So I destroyed the one bounce gate. And now when I tried to put on a bounce gate, it's telling me that I already have one on. So I might have to just put the bounce gate on the adjacent parcel eventually. But right now it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 14, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 30, 31, 32, 33 unique pieces of fake gachi art on this one spacious parcel with room to grow. But I just, it's a lot of, I have a lot of displays on this one parcel right now.
I have a revision I was going to put in the weekly hangout chat if you guys could give me some feedback. I've got an artist doing some work, and I was just going to get your guys' opinions on the fix, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should also come to us on Fridays, since we do during our GMI hours. We do a fake curators segment, a 30-minute segment where we look at the queue, and me and Hefe kind of discuss with the the fellows at GMI who are watching the different pieces we see. So we would love to bring on, because we're going to start interviewing more people on our show. So White Ranger, if you're ever available on a Friday night and got 15 to 20 minutes and want to talk about some of your art, definitely hit us up.
Hell yeah. So
I
down.
definitely have plenty to talk about. That's for sure. So just let me know, guys. I mean, I could abandon it. The artist doing this revision is super excited about it and wants to finish. So I don't know.
Oh, the leaderboard is up, and I
we
narrowly
go.
lost. Oh man.
Taking a
Who is
look
this
here.
mystery? Who is this like 6994 mystery address? I'm so curious. We did some really cool stuff with the leaderboard here. You guys might notice. So if you have an ENS address, it'll show that. But I think if you're a publisher or an artist, it's going to show that as higher priority than your wallet or your ENS. So basically, your artist or your publisher name is going to be shown as the highest priority. Definitely let me know what you think of that, if you like that, or if you prefer your ENS to be highest priority. We might be able to make that switch, but I think right now, as it is, it's pretty neat. Pretty neat.
I like the ENS.
So-
I think that's really cool.
So you are just 2 away, so close. I'm really curious who this top collector is.
I did get some DMs asking for fakes last night from someone trying to climb the leaderboard. I thought that was pretty cool.
Hey guys, I'll be right back. I gotta restart my PC. It's kind of doing some weird stuff with a keychain, so I'll be right back.
Uh-oh.
It's all good,
Okay.
though. Just kind of, yeah, it's like laggy, super laggy all of a sudden. Be right back.
But no futuristic. You came in at second place here. You are so darn close, 44.3%. Looks like 2 pieces ahead, whoever 0x69 is.
Yeah, man. I was literally this morning, right before the call, I was like, I should buy another piece or two. And I didn't. I'm actually buying them now. Just so, I'm not going to win the card, but I just want the top spot. So I'm going to buy 3 more pieces just to get ahead of them.
Right on, right on. You will get it, but yeah, we're going to be sending a card to whoever's listening at 0x6994. Got a nice fake catch card on the house. And you've obviously got us a very nice collection, so you're already winning. And it's pretty crowded at the tops. You look at 76 unique pieces, no futuristic, then 74, 73, and then there's a bit of a gap down to 60. So, I mean, there's just like an upper echelon there. Now, I do see Goop saying he's got like 96, which would be off the charts. But I'm going to have to look into that. I can't imagine how that wouldn't work. Blockchain don't lie, right? So we got to see what's going on there. Maybe it's some weird subgraph weirdness or something. Withholding judgment.
Now, I had gotten some fakes and sent them to a different wallet from a different wallet, and those don't seem to be registering. Are there specific events that were required to register as an owner?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the question here. It seems like, you'd think it'd just be the pieces in your wallet, but maybe it's how they got to your wallet, which would be different. But as far as to my knowledge, no, that's not something I'm privy to. We'll just have to wait and look into it. But we want to do more leaderboards going forward. So, I mean, I think this makes sense for a first leaderboard is to emphasize collectors and especially like a diversification of various, pieces. And then I guess the next, most popular leaderboard might be, I don't know, just raw like numbers of how many Feikachis you have, whether or not it's repeats of the same one, or maybe you guys have different opinions or other ideas on things to track that would be worth tracking.
As a publisher, it would be nice to see, like, if I was able to just like select the pieces. So like if I was doing like a giveaway for someone that owned like a whole series, so if I could easily like query the addresses that own like certain NFTs, maybe if multiple NFTs.
I think two other cool ways of doing it would be collection where it is on the leaderboard by last sale valuation. So if you took the last sale value of all the cards and totaled it up, that total amount would be would be registered on the leaderboard. The other one is the floor valuation of the whole collection. So floor price of the whole collection, total it up, and then that goes on the leaderboard, because then that actually shows like people who have collected like who have collected like the most valuable cards. That should count towards your score on the leaderboard, I think.
So that's an interesting point, and I don't disagree with you. I will just point out, like internally, some of the original discussion about that was we're actually kind of shy about emphasizing the financial aspect too much. We want to enjoy the art. We want to enjoy collecting a variety of pieces, and so we opted initially to stay away from going super heavy on like, well, here's the value of these pieces, and this is the person who's collecting the most expensive amount of the collection, if that makes sense. But at the end of the day, I think you make a great point. I mean, there is a desire to know who is. It's a way of, I guess, seeing who's collecting, quality pieces as opposed to picking up absolute floor items. And it might be the same person doing both, right? That's a different thing. But yeah, for our instance, for the first one out of the gate, we just felt uncomfortable going heavy with like the financial aspect. So we just went with, a variety. Who's out there, who's looking, who's checking for new pieces all the time, and kind of wanted to highlight that. But I think you're onto something, Hefe. There's definitely like, I'm personally curious about that, right? Like that's a true curator.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see who's out there buying all the really high-end cards, and maybe they've curated a different kind of collection. But I also see the financial aspect of it, like we're trying to keep it friendly, so it does make sense in that sense also. But maybe in the future we could have maybe not the last sale valuation, but maybe like a floor valuation of, just by leaderboard, by floor or something could be interesting, even for those who are, they're willing to spend, they have money to spend on Feikachie cards. That could be its own competition. There's the guys collecting everything, and then the guys being like, I want to have the most valuable collection. I want to be on the leaderboard for the most valuable collection.
Yeah.
I would love to see a leaderboard for airdrops, because if you're a collector, like I know at this point I've received, I don't even know how many I've received, but DJ Supreme Pablo has dropped stuff. Ben Logan has dropped me stuff. I've received a decent number of airdrops from people that I previously supported. So that could be a good metric, because it's more about like, I was a collector and that's why I'm getting these airdrops versus just like kind of farming them, I guess, because you don't know who's going to drop what or when. And it's just like a nice reward for the collector.
So would it be, are you saying it should be a leaderboard for the collectors who have received airdrops, or are you saying it should be for publishers who have given away the most pieces? I don't even know if we can track that or differentiate, but that does sound very interesting.
If you could differentiate, I would love both. Like, because it would be cool to see who are the collectors. Like, if I think of Zbot, right? I have 2 GM modes, and then he airdropped me 2 of the Spirit Force pieces. There's been a couple pieces like Green Pablo. I had the Sus Cacti. I had 2 of those. Then I got the 2 GM Licks airdropped, and then I think there's another piece that just dropped. So yeah, like I think it would be interesting to see it on both sides.
I like that. It's now you're getting into how they're distributed, which is very interesting. And I'm a big fan of. Maybe some of you see my comments in the Fakeachi's chat. Like, you can mint 100 of these, so I think there's a huge opportunity here that don't always go for let's mint them and sell them. Let's mint them and get them into either gachi gangs' hands or other communities' hands, potential collectors. I think there's just so much opportunity there. So I would totally be for a leaderboard that highlights people that are just distributing these in maybe non-financial ways.
That's actually the route I took with my first card. I listed a couple on the market. I put up a couple on the auction, and the rest of them I'm just selectively distributing them because I want my card to have the best distribution. I want, that pie chart that you guys really did a good job with implementing that pie chart, because that's going to be really interesting to see how these cards get distributed over time. When that pie chart looks nice and equal, all the slices look the same, that's like perfection right there. You've perfectly distributed your card, and there's going to be some interesting market action that happens. This is what I've seen in rare Pepes, is the cards that have like that really even pie chart, the perfect distribution, their price discovery is a lot different than the cards that have like the big slices of like some guy that owns like half the collection or something, right? So it does make a difference over time.
Regardless of whether that person with the big slice is the artist, the publisher, or just a major collector, it means that nobody can dump on you, right? Like it's very decentralized.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be a cool leaderboard in and of itself, like most even pie slices.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for that leaderboard.
So, Coder Dan, you have an announcement there. You were saying we're going to look into it and just look at whatever is true on the block time at.
That's right. Yeah, we'll check the query. There's a bug in the query somewhere, so we will still use 2 p.m. UTC today, basically 23 minutes ago, as the block number once the query is correct, and we'll run it by you guys again to make sure everyone's pieces are appearing as they should. So no worries there. We'll once we've got it to the bottom of it. It's the weekend, so it'll take a little bit of time, but I'm sure by Monday we should have it sorted out. So don't panic. If we'll see who's actually on top, because we might be upsetting the odds here.
Boobs, if you're listening, don't rage quit. Stick with us. we will get to the bottom of this.
But yeah, it's a cool first step. We had to actually do quite a bit of creative querying to get this list, so there's probably just a small bug there, but this definitely opens the door for a lot of other cool leaderboards in the future.
Speaking of leaderboards, did you ever publish the leaderboard for the arena?
I think we did. I don't know. That was a crazy week. I think it did get published somewhere in the Discord, but I don't think it was made into like an official like a page anywhere. But I'm pretty sure we did drop it into the Discord at some point.
Yeah, I have to go back and check that. Didn't get to see it when it was there, but yeah, another great leaderboard.
Yeah, that's gonna, depending on how things go, I think there'll be some hidden benefits from that leaderboard in the future. Can't say much though.
So for today, we got some interesting stuff lined up here for today. We'll be joined here, I think, a little later in our hangout here, but we'll be joined by Gachi Farmy, who has some surprises for us. And I don't know if I see them in the chat yet, but Gachi Gang member Chair and his friends have put together something with infinity keys. And so if you guys from Infinity Keys are in the chat at any point during our conversation here, just put your hand up and we'll get you on stage. But I'm really looking forward to especially the Gotchi Farmy presentation. It's something we've been discussing in the back for a little while.
Yes.
So.
You guys are going to be blown away.
It's going to be good. They've been teasing it all week too. So if you've been following Gotchi Farming, you might already have a good idea of what this is going to be. And then one more thing, the Gotchi Lodge is officially going to Eat Denver. So we're going to be boots on the ground at Eat Denver. Been talking to Golden Cross, been talking to Lost Local and some of the GMI friends on how we're going to approach this. You know, we want to have some objectives in mind and actually maybe bring some more devs and builders onto the protocol, because Eat Denver is a huge event. It's a huge gathering of technically inclined people that I think would really appreciate what we've done at Aavegotchi and would really appreciate having access or the ability to build on the protocol. So we might even follow that up with the hackathon. So we'll discuss that a little bit today, but probably more tomorrow at the Sunday meeting, at the DAO meeting. And so there'll be more details then around that. Could be really exciting. I was actually going to ask you guys, how did the last like we did a game jam, like I think it was the year before last year. Did we get quite a few entrants for that? Were there quite a few people that were interested? It seemed like a pretty big deal. Like we had Kagi Jan, I remember. There was like a whole thing, whole like competition around it. So
yeah, I remember there were like at least 10 or so solid entries, if I remember correctly. We definitely got some like indie game designers. There was a lot of kind of more green talent, but there were a couple more sophisticated designers. And then from that, also Gotchi Miners was, I believe it was created during that game jam as well.
Yeah, and Liquidator's Chase too, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think we're definitely we're due for another game jam very soon here.
I was gonna say Lost Local had a really good idea with the Soulmate Origin cards, using those as an invite to the hackathon, so we could pass those out at Eat Denver, and they could swipe the card, and that would be their invite to the hackathon. So it'd be a little something different, a different way to send out an invite.
Because there's a hackathon that happens at Eat Denver too, as well, right?
Yeah,
like the main event.
Yeah.
So you guys you don't want to compete with that one.
No. We wanna bring them away from Eat Denver post event and say, hey, look, we're doing a 4-week hackathon. 1 to 2 weeks. Like we'll set a date 1 to 2 weeks after Eat Denver, like a 2-week registration period where everybody can sign up, and then we would do a 4-week hackathon where you'd have 4 weeks to build something, but along the way we would be doing coverage through GMI. So we'd be doing like interviews with the devs. We'd be like tracking progress along the way, and then at the end we would do like a big ceremony, like it'd be celebratory, and then we would do we would judge the best products. Maybe we'd have a few, like 2 or 3 different categories, and then we'd have a prize pool, of course, which I hope the DAO would be behind that.
Actually, we were talking about this yesterday, Coder Dan, and want to ask, like, because you said that you had about 10 really good participants. So if we did do multiple categories, I guess 2 feedbacks we would need would be, what category of like development are we looking for? Is it just games? Is it like utility tools, stuff like that? Both from the DAO and Pixelcraft. And then like realistically, what from your experiences, like, should we expect in terms of applicants? Because if we try doing multiple categories, we might it might be stretching the field a little bit. So just trying to get like more feedback from you guys since you've actually done it before.
I think a game jam is very different from a general hackathon. So I think it's either kind of there would be two different tracks, or we would just do one type. Like you wouldn't want to really mix a game jam with a hackathon, I think, and unless you had the different categories that people could compete in. They're very different. I mean, we do have some movement on the arcade task force recently, so it almost would make sense to wait until that has been fleshed out more and is ready to go before we do like another big game jam. So in the meantime, I'm sure there's plenty of new tools that could be built on Aavegotchi. We've come a long way in the last like year since our last big hackathon. So it might make sense to do more of a general hackathon than a game jam at this point. But just some initial thoughts.
Those are sort of my thoughts also, where I think we should open it up and see what sort of analytical or specific tools we might want. And even as a community, if we can brainstorm what tools we would want, I think it would be like just a wanted list of things that Gotchi Gang wants. And then we'd also have the hackathon where, we could see what comes out of it, if any of these tools get built, or if someone takes something that's been built already and makes like a better version of it. It could be really interesting. But yeah, I agree with your sentiment that maybe regarding the game jam or like designing a game, maybe that should be its own, like that's its own kind of event.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So we'll be there for the whole event. I think it's 9 days. It'll give us a lot of time to do outreach and bring people in into the protocol. I think it'd also be good for like organizations like the ETF, getting more members in there and growing their community. So I think it's all around a good thing.
When is ETH Denver? It's like February
25th to March 5th.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have some a totally new. We're working on like a new some new branding and kind of homepage for Aavegotchi. So I think by the time we should be in good time for ETH Denver to have kind of a new onboarding flow for people and just a overall new sexy look for Aavegotchi by then. So the onboarding
awesome.
should be even easier for you guys.
Yeah, we actually plan on hosting an event at a local cafe and do coffee hour with the devs.
Cool.
Do some interviews, do some networking. So that would actually be a great venue to showcase something like that.
Yeah.
We were talking about it yesterday during our live stream, and I actually had an idea that might be helpful for onboarding. In the Aavegotchi, when you're entering the Gotchiverse, there's an option at the bottom on the right where you can choose to be an observer. I think we should put a link or some kind of UI there that allows visitors to directly rent from the Gotchi renting, like Gotchi lending, so that they don't actually have to leave the website if they want to enter the Gotchiverse. They can just rent a Gotchi right there. Maybe it's not the full listings, but maybe some sample listings and a link that leads them to the Gotchi lending website.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like a little mini widget for Gotchi
Mini
lending.
widget. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then you're there and you're just like, all right, you don't have to go to find another website. Everything's just kind of interlinked. Because we were talking about the work in progress piece, and it had me thinking, like, when we get them into the Gotchiverse eventually, I want to be able to bring them in, like, or Hefe bring them in, and they can come in as observers, but let's give them the full Web3 experience. Go rent a Gotchi, like, right here in this easy to do way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been talking to a few people to see if we can, in Motiverse, you see all these funky characters. I think we should get if someone in Gotchi Gang knows how to build VRM models. Apparently they're not like, if you have 3D like experience building 3D models, it's something that most people could do. But like to build some Gotchi VRM models that we could like sign into like Motiverse during their hangouts. Instead of being like a carrot or a whatever, like a trash can or whatever, you can be a Gotchi. You can actually be like a, not your gotchi, but like a preset gotchi, so we can start rating their metaverse as gotchis as well. I think we need to do that. But also, we want to bring them into the gotchiverse more often. So I've been talking to Rizzle and seeing maybe if we can do some sort of like partnership or collaboration with the Whip, and see if we can, not only go to their metaverses and bounce with them, but get them into the gotchiverse and give them a taste of what we're building here.
Yeah, it sounds the same as what we did with the Whip meetup 2-3 weeks ago. But the question is, what are they going to do in the Gotchiverse? We got to make sure there's a reason for them to come in, something for them to do. The arena will solve a lot of that. But in the meantime, if they're not collecting Gotchi art or they're not interested in farming, then I don't know what you plan to do with them.
Yeah, I think just it would be kind of a cap off to like there. So when they're bouncing through their different metaverses, we would add the Gotchiverse as part of that experience. And I think one of the things that we could do right now is a simple art gallery and a little update. Like they don't spend a whole lot of time in each metaverse, so it could be okay to do a couple of just like, hey, this is an art gallery, or this is some fake gotchis that we launched this week. But also, I think I'm kind of more alluding to like the arena and like more active experiences would be, like you say, more appropriate for that sort of thing.
I mean, my feedback was if you went to that first event, it was kind of all over the place. Like we're like, oh, here's a bunch of parcels and here's a bunch of art that they didn't have any emotional connection to. So if you were to do that, I just humbly suggest getting something more specific to them that they actually care about. As long as it's something they care about, they're down. So why don't we invest in, say, 10 fake gotchi cards if there's going to be an initiative, for example. And then you say, look, every week or every time we do a Whip meetup and we hop in the Gotchiverse, we're going to allocate one fake Gotchi card to one person in this community. And then we all go to one parcel that we've bought together. And every week we're going to see an NFT display that has art from our community displayed in the Gotchiverse. And you populate it over the course of a couple months of meetups. And then every time you go in, you see like, oh, there's my friend's art. There's my other friend's art. There's my art. You know what I mean? And it has more emotional connection because you're just like, you're doing something specifically for that community and bringing them in, as opposed to being like, go look at, all of these other people's art and get excited about it. Maybe they will.
The Whip needs like their own parcel. They could like use some mosaic titles to make a Whip name for it. And then
exactly. Get them a spaceships. Get them some fake Gotchi cards. Let them actually go hands on with it. Then it makes sense. Like, hey, at the end of the session, we're going to come in and we're going to craft a couple of display cases.
Yeah, I like this idea because then you're doing something active and you're getting them involved, like you say, getting them engaged, and there's a connection with the art. So, yeah, I like these ideas. I wrote them down, and
and they're definitely the right people to hang out with. Like they would appreciate it. Like that's definitely the right kind of community to vibe with. So just try not to make it too passive, and then it can be pretty powerful.
Yeah, that's great advice.
We were discussing something yesterday when we were going in our GMI Syncopator about the whole ETH Denver thing, and we were talking about displays of technology, and I was wondering, just like, not that we can do it, but if it's possible, if we were holding an in real life event and we got some like ultra rare one of one Aavegotchi stuff, like I'm thinking the polo shirt or the the hoodie or the luggage that White Ranger has. Would we be able to set up something to do like a live GVM? Like if we had a live in real life event, we were streaming it and covering it, would we be able to add like a piece, like I guess to the bazaar or maybe even to the Fake Gotchi site, since you already have the GVM integrated, to do it like GVM, like a silent auction in real life that's actually going on online? We encourage everybody that's in our coffee event to jump in the GVM for this chance to win this super rare one of one wearable, and then it also encourages people digitally, who are online, to also bid on it, so we can have like a in real life demonstration of the GVM at ETH Denver or whatever event.
I mean, yeah, you could. I don't see any reason why you couldn't like schedule an event, and you could create your auction while you're there. We also actually have a feature where you can schedule an auction and it automatically begins at some time in the future. It's currently not on the UI, but that could be something as well. You could schedule an auction to begin. But yeah, I don't see any reason why you couldn't hold an in real life meetup and then do some GBM action during it.
Yeah, that would be
Is it-
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there something I'm missing, or is that is
Well,
it
I was
just
saying,
it's
like, if we were to do it for, like, say, if we made like another one of those like suitcases, the Aavegotchi suitcase, to GBM a physical piece, like in real life, like as an event.
like a physical? Okay.
You
Yeah, 'cause
could basically create like a companion token, right? Coder down, and that represented the item, and then hold the auction for that, maybe.
So yeah, there's a certain artist is actually preparing to do a kind of a physical item that will be gifted when you get the GBM fake gotchi. You guys might know who it is. If he might have already said it, I don't know. But that's definitely a
Maybe.
model that could be experimented with. Maybe is it Goobs? I'm actually talking about someone else, but
Oh wow.
there's probably a couple artists doing that.
Yeah, because we were
So
thinking of
that's
ways to,
totally a
like,
model.
activate, like, in real life, like especially at a place like ETH Denver, say, where it's all these devs, and we're like, just like it's a good demonstration of the power of the GBM and how we're utilizing it, and a good way to like create hype within our own event.
Yeah, especially with those one-on-one items, or even if it's like a very limited run of items, I think that could be really interesting, like really cool.
Yeah, because in New York, when we were kind of trying to battle it out trivia wise for the hoodie, it was intense. I mean, Sir Linkius was on point, but there were a lot of people who got almost all the questions right. But we were all invested and ready for it. So I just think it would be a lot of fun.
Speaking of GBM, we also have a little video to drop here in just a moment. We'll get that teed
Ooh.
up.
It wouldn't
guys
be a
guess what it
Gotchi
is?
gang hangout without some alpha. I'm guessing arena, something to do with the arena, maybe, or V2. Maybe it's a V2 release video.
Well, I thought you said speaking of GBM, so it's probably
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I missed that part. Yeah,
it's
my
GBM in the arena. You have to get your bid to die.
bad.
To die. You guys, we'll probably talk about this more tomorrow, but are you guys following this like DCG Barry Shilbert thing with with Cameron? Just the crazy, all that craziness over on that side of crypto.
Yeah, we were talking about it last night during our show. Just kind of how it's crazy, like because with Genesis, with Gemini, that's like was considered safe. These are like audited companies, and it's like just kind of what is happening, you know? And also the fun fact that the Winklevosses are part of a band. I guess a tribute band, Mars Junction. So we got to listen to a little bit of their music yesterday, which was interesting.
Didn't they? I saw they had it was like a gig they did where they were singing "Don't Stop Believing," and I had to cut my ears off.
Yeah, they seem to only have shows. Like we looked at their website, they have some decent looking merch. For some reason, all the merch is priced at 21.21, which we think is a reference to Bitcoin. but they only have shows this year between like June 1st and July 3rd. Like just 1 month, the whole year, they're gonna like jam out and play, and then back to whatever the hell they do.
Well, that makes sense if you've ever been in a band because you got to rehearse and get ready and be sharp. If you play after like a 6 month break, it's garbage. You gotta be on point. So
Yeah,
they're pulling it all together.
some of my musician friends now, they like were doing a lot of college tours during the summer, and now they're like, it's slowed down, so they're not touring as much. So actually, some of them, they know about all the Aavegotchi stuff, so they're trying to get me to help them make NFT music, and I'm like, we should do a fake Gotchi card together. So I'm trying to put that together with some of my musician friends. Ooh, what is this?
Ooh,
And-
wearables. Wearables GBM.
Yeah, this was going on in the text chat. We got so many things to talk about, and then we still got the big reveal from Farmy coming up. My God, Dan, do you want to finish up your thoughts on the digital currency group, or do you want to jump into the bidders symbol?
Yeah, I'll just say about that. I did do some research over the weekend, and was basically I don't give a crap about DCG or FTX or any of that because we're not really involved in that side. But I do care about GUSD because MakerDAO has that on their balance sheet, and I was curious how big the hole would be if GUSD got fully rugged. It's a pretty big hole. It came out to about 500 million out of 8. I think there's like 700 million or 800 million GUSD in existence, and MakerDAO has about 75% of them in their vault. So if GUSD did rug, then MakerDAO would basically have a $500 million hole in its balance sheet, which when you actually look at they have this cool website, diestats.com. I'll drop it here, and then we'll get onto the GBM stuff. So this tells you basically how much DAI exists and how it was created. So there's currently 5.7 billion DAI, and there's obviously DAI it's an over collateralized stable coin. So they theoretically, apparently, according to DAI stats, their collateralization in terms of assets is 7.18 billion. So from what it seems like, theoretically, even if GUSD did a full rug and went to zero, they would, assuming that's the only thing that went down, they would still have over collateralized DAI. So what we're mainly concerned about is DAI going to lose? Is it going to depeg? Is it going to go from one USD to 0.95 or 0.9 if something like this happens? So from what I can tell on looking at the MakerDAO forum and reading through a lot of their tweets and going to their Discord, there is definitely a lot of concern on the MakerDAO side about GUSD, but there doesn't seem to be like a systemic concern for DAI yet, where they would be like, maybe like guys, they definitely want to get rid of GUSD, but they're not worried too much about DAI like depegging if it goes to zero. But these things move fast. It could be something that could potentially trigger some bank run sentiment, which in that case, then that could be more concerning. So I just want to give a little update on that. Some food for chat for tomorrow, maybe during the DAO discussion.
Yeah, it's something we all have to be watching. We're very well disconnected from so much of the garbage that happens in certain corners of crypto, and yet we do have to keep an eye on things, because as much as we love the curve and what we've accomplished with it, it's been so effective up to now. I do keep in the back of my mind that we have built a foundation that is on top of DAI, right? The curve only works if DAI works. So As much as we love that the curve, we have to keep an eye on DAI and MakerDAO, and that means we're a bit beholden to them, and I don't really like that. And it's good that Dan, you took the time to really dig in this week and see what's going on over there, especially with the current relations with GUSD. I was concerned about that weeks ago with just their exposure to USDC and various elements and decisions they've been making lately. I didn't even have GUSD on my radar. I didn't even I just don't follow that. So we can all contribute to this and keep an eye on things and share intelligence. And just the painful fact is, if DAI were to have an issue and we hadn't prevented and got ahead of it and made a move away from DAI prior to that issue happening, the fact of the matter is, even though that I think there was a DAO position passed where we would move to decouple, we actually invested a lot of our Solidity time the last couple of weeks over the holiday and after into seeing what that would really look like in reality. Dan, maybe you could share a little bit of light on that. It's not something we can accomplish in a day, right? It's realistically the curve doesn't play that way.
It could theoretically be done in a day. There's about, so if for the OGs that are that were here when we did the migration, we did a couple votes before that where I think one of them was changing the tap and one other thing. So there's voting that can happen on the Aragon side, which is on Ethereum. And we did those 2 votes because we knew that a lot of the Ghost was going to be moved over to Polygon and would not be eligible to vote anymore. So some of the bad news would be if we did need to shut the curve down or pause it or do whatever to get the DAI out and then convert the DAI into something more stable, whatever that would be, then we would need to get some Ghost back onto Ethereum to be able to basically meet quorum for doing those votes, just like we did pre-migration. So it would take it takes 8% of the Ghost supply to meet that quorum, and there would be about from our test, I think we have 2 votes would be necessary. One would be to basically turn off the curve, and the other would be to allow the transfer of the DAI to the beneficiary. So those 2 votes could be, theoretically, they could be done within a couple hours if the Ghost were ready on Ethereum mainnet. So it's not something that would have to take a week or even 3 days or even a day, but it would be really just the rallying of Ghost and the bridging back that would take the most time, probably.
Yeah, bridge typically takes 1 to 3 hours, right, from Polygon.
Yeah, and if the whole damn ecosystem is melting, it might take longer.
Yeah, it's not like it's a normal Sunday, right? It
might be a traffic jam.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's good we continue to have these discussions. It's not to FUD Ghost or DAI or anything else. It's just like my background and Dan's as well with BullionX, the very first NFT project we did. We were literally the first ones to wrap an NFT, to use an NFT to wrap around ERC20s, and we went with DGX gold tokens because we wanted to make gold stablecoins interesting. And if you guys have been following, you know that unfortunately DigX and DGX, totally out of our control, they shut down and they closed their gold vaults. So the DGX that we wrapped around, you can't redeem for gold anymore. And so I just wake up in sweats, it's just I don't like putting my heart and soul into building something and then having it reliant on somebody else's work. And, we all do that to a certain extent. The Ethereum network, we're reliant on the validators and whoever secures that network. And you do this in life with all sorts of things. But DAI has done amazingly well up till this point, but it's getting a little shaky out there, and it does look like the stablecoin wars have begun, or Yoda would say, begun. The stablecoin wars have. So we gotta have our heads on a swivel and just look out and keep these discussions going. It's not to FUD anything, but it's to be real, and we want to, no matter what, put the Aavegotchi protocol first and foremost and keep Aavegotchi safe, and to the point that it can outlast, DAI token or any other stablecoin or any other FUD that does end up actuating throughout the market. So up to this point, we've done a very good job. We didn't park anything on third-party exchanges or FTX or any of that garbage, and now we just got to continue to look ahead at potential risks. Just wanted to pass along the research we've been doing and let you guys know we're looking at it. And that's to say, if we were to close the curve, I don't think it's necessarily like a very bad thing for Ghost or for Aavegotchi. It could actually be quite the opposite if done correctly and thoughtfully. And we're definitely, putting thought into what a post-curve tokenomics could look like. So for whatever that's worth, we welcome those conversations as well, and are actively thinking about, just in case, what that could be.
Yeah, the main question is really just if if DAI or MakerDAO is a ticking time bomb, if they do have a lot of exposure to the GUSD doesn't seem to be a huge issue, although it could trigger something. Like Golden Cross said, the USDC is probably the bigger thing to be worried about because that's 35% of their balance sheet. If for some reason USDC blacklisted them from transferring vaults, that would basically be the end of MakerDAO. So that's a pretty big counterparty risk to stomach. And when we started the curve, MakerDAO hadn't really been doing a lot of real world assets. They were mainly Ethereum based. So they've really kind of moved towards more and more centralization. Partly because they maybe have to get product market fit, but they're kind of trying to move away from it and depeg DAI from the USD with their kind of in-game plan. If anyone goes to MakerDAO, you'd see that Rune is talking about that a lot. So that's another thing we don't really agree with. There's definitely a decision at some point we'll have to make, but we definitely don't want to make that decision too late when our hand is forced as well. That would not be good. So lots of things to think about. But if you guys are ever on Twitter and follow anyone who is giving the latest research on it, definitely feel free to post it in the chat. I follow quite a few guys that got their ear on the ground, so generally know what's going on. But there's always some good guys on Twitter who are sleuthing things out faster than the media.
Yeah, for sure. And just like the way I'm starting to look at it, the more I do research, is like Ghost with a clear and defined supply. I mean, there's still burns happening, but generally there's no more minting happening. That's an interesting way to go. I mean, there's some pluses there in terms of whether you're talking to various exchanges or whatever. It could be it's not all dark and gloomy. I'm actually pretty excited about potential alternatives. It's just this concern for being built on top of something that we don't want to have Aavegotchi beholden to anything, even if it's MakerDAO or DAI or something like that. At least that's how I'm looking right now. We'll continue to do research. Keep it all happening in real time, and we all share notes.
So
I think this is great to have this conversation, and I'm thankful that we have a vigilant team out there that's actually looking out of this, outside of our ecosystem, at something like DAI that pegs it. Looking out for these sorts of risks. And something else I was going to say is maybe the Ghost token depegging from the bonding curve, or sorry, not being associated with the bonding curve, may actually even attract, and we were discussing about this when Moon brought it up, it may even attract a new kind of investor that we maybe have not been exposed to as much yet, is the kind of passive investor that maybe that's betting on the game's success but doesn't want to maybe isn't active in the game, so not buying wearables, not buying not buying assets in the game, but wants to buy Ghost and bet on the success of the game. And having the Ghost token not associated with the bonding curve would be appealing to that kind of investor, because they would actually be able to get some price appreciation on their tokens as well. Like I think there's some recent big buys on the bonding curve as well. So like there are definitely people, or just big buys of the Ghost token. There are definitely people out there like still buying large amounts of Ghost token. So it could really be good for the price too, as well, right? That's the other side of things.
Well, I mean, I cannot discuss the price at all. It's
Yeah.
really not my place. But I would just say that in terms of not hurting our ecosystem and rugging the DAO's treasury and things like that, that's what I'm concerned with.
Speaking of, this is so funny. Speaking of bonding curves, this is the guy who literally created bonding curves. Just giving us a shout out here on Twitter.
No way.
This guy's
I haven't seen this guy's name in like 2 years.
I know, right?
What?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's a big brain. This guy wrote literally the blog post that inspired the Aragon fundraising template that powers the bonding curve. Very cool.
That's pretty cool. I'm so happy to see that.
Is that
Give
the
him
same?
a shout out.
Is that the same Twitter user that did a GBM auction for their NFT?
No, he made this thing called Neolastics that's actually kind of interesting. I don't think it really got much adoption, but it was basically, it's an NFT minted on a bonding curve, so you can buy it and sell it back to the bonding curve. Giving him a little shout out here. Super cool. I think I had a chat with him a while back, but I wasn't sure how aware he was of Aavegotchi. Sounds like he's pretty aware. That's cool. So anyway, speaking of the GBMs, we will be launching wearables. We wanted to give you guys enough heads up. So if you do have a mythical or a godlike or basically any wearable that you're planning that you would like to auction off, the fund will begin on January 11th, so 4 days from today, 2 p.m. UTC. And the presets and everything will be exactly as they are with fake gotchis. The main difference is that you'll just be auctioning wearables instead of ERC 721 fake gotchis. And currently, I believe there is an option in the GBM contract to allow multiple wearables, multiple quantity of the same wearable, but that will initially not be enabled. But once we've practiced a little bit with it, make sure everything is working properly, we will enable a quantity amount. So you'll be able to theoretically auction multiple of the same wearable at once. I even believe I think there is an option where you can make bundles as well. That would be very interesting. That will be coming in the future. But so for now, you'll have ERC 1155 wearables, and at some point before or right as the Forge is launching, we will also be opening up the GBM for the Forge assets, the schematics, and I think the cores as well. So lots of interesting things coming on the GBM side in January and February.
I'm really interested.
Sorry, go ahead, Hefe.
I was just going to quickly add, I'm really interested to seeing how the godlike items are going to perform in the GBM.
Yeah.
Well,
it's going to be cool.
It kind of goes. I'm just thinking like there's such a combo here coming up if you put everything in context. We've got this new feature where we can do the auctions for the wearables. There's the Forge coming, which is very deflationary on existing wearables. And then you've got, what else? You've got the fact that there's a new rarity farming season coming. So the meta is kind of shifting, and we may see some, I think, more movement on the leaderboards than typical, especially near the top. for things like the godlikes. That's kind of what I think is going to happen. I don't know if I'm missing something, but it seems like it'll go that way.
Well, there is one more thing that we can introduce once we're ready, and I think we should maybe think about it around when the arena's out and rarity farming. Is the respec potion has been developed by the DAO. So whenever we're ready to actually, Jared actually worked on the smart contract side, and we had Oliver Spoon work on the artwork for that. And so whenever we decide we want to implement the respec potion, that's something we can introduce as well, which will also kind of shift the meta, I think, a little bit at least. For those who have been accumulating their Spirit Force. Or accumulating their XP towards spirit points.
We have a good question from Ceza. He's asking, current GBM has backend signature, or can we bot it?
It does have backend signature, but the API is currently, it's pretty basic. We're not really checking if you are online anywhere as we do with the Gotchiverse. So there's definitely some botting going on. Actually, I think I told you guys, was it, I think in one of our last Hangouts? Actually, no, I didn't tell you guys, but something really funny happened with one of the botters. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of funny. I'm in one of our regional groups where I just kind of hang out and lurk, and they were basically saying there was this botter who I guess he got some initial good trades in and accumulated a decent amount of ghost. So what they did, you guys, this might explain some of the bidding action on the auction.aavegotchi.com. They basically lowballed a bunch of art, and this bidder who was automated apparently just was bidding like 1 or 2 ghosts on a bunch of these kind of pieces by these guys, and they were doing it intentionally to basically pull out all the ghosts from this guy's account, from this botter's account. And they were I literally watched them doing it over like 3 days. They were constantly just listing these really, really cheap fake gotchi pieces, and this botter ended up with like a huge collection of 1 or 2 ghost fake gotchi pieces, and they were able to get all the ghosts out. The botter ran out of Matic, so they actually funded the botter's account with more Matic so they could keep getting the ghost out. So if you are gonna bot, you better be careful, because that might happen to you. You might end up with a bunch of fake gotchi pieces, which is awesome, but you might lose any ghost that you were able to make with the botting. So it's definitely risky business. No risk, no reward. But in this case, it's actually risk and maybe not any reward. You might lose a bunch of Matic and a bunch of ghost.
Dang, so I should probably stop bidding on all those. Like, I see all these one ghost listings, and I've just been scooping up whatever I can get just because it's cheap. But maybe I'm doing a disservice by helping this bot.
We have
Yeah.
I was gonna say we have Gotchi Farmy up here joining us, and so wanted to say GM Gotchi Farmy, welcome up.
GM guys, how are you?
Excellent. We're doing really well. We've been seeing you teasing out on your on Gotchi Farmy's socials. Something big is brewing over at the Gotchi Farmy. And so, maybe I think the best way to start off with this is maybe just to introduce people to the trailer. Or would you like to actually discuss what you're building first and then drop the trailer? I think
best thing is to drop alpha, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So if y'all are ready, we're gonna drop I think you have it's a video, like a YouTube video, right? YouTube trailer. So if you could drop that in the chat, everybody have a look at this. I think it's only 2 minutes long, but let's have a look at this. I want to see what everybody thinks here. Let's get a reaction, and then we'll get into some Q&A, and we can discuss your project.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna drop it now. Maybe you want to comment it, Refe, during. We can try to launch it all at the same time, maybe.
This,
So
this is too
just
much. I've been waiting. Oh, there it is. Oh,
yeah,
There
there
it
it is.
is. Everyone, go check that out. And let's have a look at this.
Ooh.
Let's watch this together here.
Nice music.
The silence.
No, I'm glad that you made it here today, and let's give these folks a minute and a bit here to have a look at this. But you've been working on this for how long now? I think you guys have been the Gotchi Farmy as a group has been working on this for quite some time, right?
Yeah, since October, working a bit in the dark, and with I would say Pixelcraft and you and the team more deeply since December, I would say. Yeah.
Wow. And so, yeah, we were, myself, I was blown away by this when you first showed me, because I'd never seen anybody do like a 3D Gotchiverse like what you guys have done here. And I think you nailed it, like with the grass and the parcels and the overall aesthetic is just amazing.
Yeah, the process of creation was very cool. Also, we got some help getting the visuals with Jesse. So yeah, it was very fun, the creation, and I think it just would like to think that it's just the beginning. So yeah.
Yeah, so okay, I guess maybe we should talk about a little bit about what people are seeing here. So what exactly has the Gotchi Farmy created here? Obviously, it's in the sandbox, so it's a sandbox based experience. But more specifically, what exactly have you guys built here?
Yeah, so the idea, so it's October 2022. We worked on that. So it was at first a GFA initiative, I would say. We just wanted to try the tools and seeing if it was well suited for us to try to create something linked with Aavegotchi. And with the first try we did, we definitely thought that we could do something cool over there. So that's when we went deep on that. So after that, we presented it to Pixelcraft in order to have the views about if they think it's something that could be bring something cool to the community, and definitely we got the support from Pixelcraft. We got a license IP for the creation and the asset and everything for the demo. And so on. The idea is not to recreate the Gotchiverse somewhere else, because the Gotchiverse is awesome the way it is right now.
Right.
The idea is just to try to get a place where we could bring new people to discover the project by giving them some educational content in a gamified way with quests, and also maybe to have it like a commercial and not commercial, sorry, like to bring publicity for the project. When new features are gonna come, we could have them over there being chilled, I would say, and people would say, "Whoa, in the future the Gotchiverse would be like this." So yeah, that's the idea behind the project.
Yeah, when you showed me, I thought, well, this is one big Aavegotchi theme park. And like you said, there's an educational component to this too, right? Which could be really interesting because right now, someone coming to Aavegotchi is kind of inundated with all this information because we are a very deep ecosystem. And so running through a fun experience like what you've created here and actually going through some quests where you learn things along the way, and we'll see more of this in the coming weeks. This is just like a teaser here we wanted to show you, but there is actually more planned here. And someone going through this experience can learn about Aavegotchi, learn about the game, and actually do that in a very fun, engaging way. So that was a really big part of the attraction for me when I saw this, was the ability to engage with the Aavegotchi theme park through quests and actually learn about what our ecosystem is through that process was so interesting.
Yes, exactly. You talked about educational content. Yeah, right now we are trying to focus about the main features that Aavegotchi already has. So explaining to people raffles, explaining to people what is Alchemica, what you can do with an altar on your parcel. So yeah, that's definitely the idea of it. And also, if we're speaking more macro about that, it's a great place for us because Sandbox is quite large, has a quite large audience to be displayed at some point over there, maybe one day, and for them also maybe to have like a synergy between the project and maybe also be part of the Gotchiverse. So it could be something cool maybe in the future.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much potential here for this.
Yeah, the Sandbox team is very aware that you guys are doing this, right? And they're quite supportive.
Yes, exactly. We had some meetings with them already, and yeah, definitely they liked. That's definitely the kind of experience they want to broadcast in their ecosystem, as it brings also value. And to be honest, we have a lot of ambitions about this experience, about what we want to create. And on some aspects, I think we would be the first team to create that kind of environment and everything else. So that's why they're quite, yeah, we could say excited about this project too. And if we had a tweet, I just tweeted something, so I'm gonna share the link.
Absolutely.
Also, yeah. So it's the trailer. You have the link and the video directly. So yeah, we are to be honest, it has been a very long time for us since October because we deeply wanted to share it with the community, but we would like to keep the surprise as long as we could. So
that was the challenge even for me, like to just be quiet about things. I kept wanting to spill the beans that I like at GMI calls. I would get close and I'm like, wait, I gotta shut up. There's more going on here in the background. We gotta wait for the right time to release this. And so I'm glad we waited this, up until this moment to do this and to get this out there for people. And this is just the start. So there will be more coming down the line, and this will be like an ongoing project between the Gotchi farming. Aavegotchi DAO has supported their initiative, as well as Pixelcraft, and like you said, helping in doing some storytelling as new features are introduced into the Gotchiverse. As new experiences are introduced, we could do some storytelling through the Sandbox experience and give the Sandbox community their group of people that exposure.
yes, for sure, and also yeah, along the way also place where we bring, I would say, quite all the perspective that the project already has. So a lot of possibilities are open. Along the way, what we want to do is to get involved in the creation and the process. So we have to find some ways to share what we are doing, where we want to go. Also with Pixelcraft, who were very supportive with us since we talked about it to them. But yes, we want to have the community involved in the process. Yeah, definitely.
Gotchi Farming, maybe you can give a bit more context on when this is going live and in what form.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're starting with a demo, and how can people actually get their hands on this, and then where does it go from there?
Yeah. So the technical part of the creation of an experience like this, we are using sandbox tools. So right now, there are some limitations about what is possible to do. So we are we are still looking about what we can do for people to do things. The main idea about this experience, it would be if the DAO support the project and that we have a lot of people wanting to have it live. It would be to have this maybe done by maybe beginning of Q2 of this year, because it takes a few months, I think, to have something very good, a good product, I would say. But yes, that's a mid run, I would say. Yeah, that's the objective. And also, I think for the people following us, that we brought a calendar, a FOMO calendar on Twitter and Lenster. Just tick on your calendar that next week hangout. Maybe Hefe, you want to talk a bit more about it, but don't miss it, because we are preparing a surprise for the Gotchi gang, so related to this project.
Absolutely, yeah. You definitely want to be here for next week's hangout. It's going to be more of an involved experience and give you more a detailed breakdown of what you just saw in the trailer. Get people to follow along, and like regarding the demo, there will be a live demo we'll do. So you definitely want to be there for the next week, because we're going to keep digging into this, and we're definitely going to be following you guys as you keep updating this, and as we get closer to Q2, because I know probably everybody in the chat here, after seeing this, wants to get in the sandbox theme park here.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the so you have a team you put together through Gotchi Farming working on this? Were there any challenges that you guys faced when you were putting this together? I'd imagine you need a very technical background to be able to do the 3D modeling and do probably there's decent amount of Web3 related work, like smart contracts and stuff, right? What did that process look like? Were there some challenges that you faced, or was it pretty easy with the Game Maker tool? Because Sandbox has their own kind of SDK for this. How did that part of this go?
Yeah, at first we had to create the team. So basically, right now it's all I would say OG members of GFA with different kind of talents. So we have awesome designers, I would say, because we're creating. Well, you saw in the trailer, but the installations, like the harvesters and everything, just with the voxels, it's well, I think it's kind of amazing what the work they did. We have also people more focused on the quest part, about the storytelling that we want to bring. And after that, well, we have coordinations and everything. So we are 9 people right now working on that in the JFA community. And yes, some people already knew the sandbox tools, some didn't yet. So it was kind of a discovering. Sandbox tools are awesome, but we have some bugs because I think it's still very early, that kind of process of creation and everything. So you can face some difficulties along the way. But yeah, it's happening quite smoothly, I would say. And now we would be we are very happy to be able to get some feedbacks from the Gotchi gang. So don't hesitate, even already yet on the trailer, to comment or to tell us what would be some ideas that you have or everything. We would be very happy to get it and everything.
Absolutely. You guys are the true builders. I'm seeing that in the chat here. Anybody in the chat, do you guys have any questions specifically to what you just saw here that we could ask Gotchi Farmy? If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Let's see.
I see a question from Choina asking,
yeah.
where is the plot located on the sandbox map? So I think it's something important to explain on the technical part of it. In the Game Maker, you can create some things, some experience, and it's not already implemented on a real sandbox parcel. So it's more like, well, right now what we are creating is on a 2x2 parcel. which is kind of normal for that kind of experience, but it's not already yet implemented on parcels. So along the process, it would be some questions to answer about how those parcels are acquired, where, who should own those parcels and everything. So that's the discussion already happening with the calls that we have with the teams and everything. But yes, at some point, when if one day we are live on the sandbox environment, I think we are kind of sure it would happen at some point. We would need to have some passwords on which implementing this experience.
Yeah, that was a good question.
Yeah, I want to say I love it. It looks amazing. I'm watching the trailer and it just looks so cool. I love how you've integrated like pretty much everything.
Yeah, the base was definitely the trailer that we all had. I think it was last year, right? The one with the Gotchiverse and the big liquidators. I don't remember. Maybe 2021. I don't remember. But yeah, that was the base to use, and we tried to stick as much as possible to that. So even with the armies inside the wall, like the mages, guardian, I would say, we tried to stay as close as possible about what we saw in the trailer. And yes, the idea is very to be in line with the Aavegotchi project, not to go on different paths. It's to be very close to what Pixel Crafting is building. Yeah.
That's so cool.
I don't know if there are other questions, even at the time.
Yeah, I see someone asking the cost of a 2x2 parcel. I think that's something we'll have to get into more when we're looking at like fully launching the experience, and you know, there's going to be probably another follow-up proposal. The DAO did fund some of the development here for the game, for the sandbox up until now, where it's at now, but there'll definitely need to be another discussion and probably a proposal for some more funding, because we do want to get this experience out to you guys so everybody can actually participate, or you know, get part of the experience and be in there. Is really cool, but just seeing what you've shown me so far. But you'll see next week during the demo kind of the details of what you built here. There's quite a lot to unpack, but yeah, I think it'll be good. Definitely show up next week if you want to get that extra alpha.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the beginning what you saw today, so don't miss next week hangout. And Steph just posted a picture of the people working on the project, so I'm gonna name them.
Yes.
It's Cebu, top left. It's Mr. Seb, Steph, Brolian, Siwan, Kira, Sigri, Mula, and I think I forgot. It's always hard. You don't want to forget someone. And myself, I would say. Yeah, but basically, yeah, it's a whole team. So yeah, we are very happy, and the idea is yeah, we love Aavegotchi project. We just want to keep spreading the gospel in a different way.
I love it. It's so cool. Just the fact that we can have this kind of interoperability is awesome. The sandbox is doing cool stuff, and I'm sure that a lot of their players will be enticed and will appreciate the Gotchiverse after playing this, and will be interested. So really, really cool co-branding, and this is what the metaverse is all about. So very cool. Great job, guys.
Yeah, you've done a great job just keeping it so loyal to the brand and the aesthetic. I feel like I've seen a number of the different like experiences you can have in the sandbox, and they all have their own different themes, and they're all individually true to whatever their brand or they're producing. But in this case, this is like, I feel like anybody that comes into what you guys have built and are continuing to build they're going to feel like, oh, they have immediately a sense of the Gotchiverse vibe and the Aavegotchi brand. And if they go from there and learn about a few things and then end up in the real Gotchiverse, there's not going to be like a big disjoint. They're going to be like, okay, I already am very much on board with what the Gotchiverse is all about. We've got a very distinct look and feel, and you guys have captured it very, very well.
Wow, we are very happy that you are enjoying it, and I think the discussion would go a bit more deeper next week, and that would be the perfect place to share some ideas next week too. So, yeah, we are looking forward for it.
Can't wait for the demo and get into some gameplay.
Yeah, some gameplay, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'll just echo that. Really good job, guys. And definitely join us next week. And bring your questions too. Questions, suggestions, all that stuff. It's good. So I'm probably gonna go and watch that trailer like 4 more times after this.
Yeah, there are some little, I wouldn't say Easter eggs yet, but some little details hidden. So don't hesitate to watch it again.
Yeah, right on.
And well, the FOMO calendar is still going. I think someone shared it right before. So next week you are gonna have some more pieces of materials about how the experience is right now. It's a bit more evolved. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Seb. It's a bit more evolved about what you saw in the trailer. So yeah, you can also follow Aavegotchi and us on Twitter to get it next week.
Yeah, awesome. And do you guys have? I think you do some live streaming on Twitch as well as on YouTube. Is that right? The Gotchi Farmy. If people want to watch.
About what? About Sandbox?
No, just in general, if people want to follow the
In
Gotchi
general.
Farmies activities, yeah. Are there some things
Yeah,
you might want to plug?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Gotchi Farmy. Yeah, it means Gotchi French Army. So the lives we are doing are in French, basically. So every Thursday night we do a live. It's half about the news, all the news about Aavegotchi. And the second part, we try to host some other people from the crypto space. One invite each week, one new project each week, in order to see if there are some synergies or to discuss about DAO, about what in other ways it could be different from Aavegotchi and everything. So every Thursday night we do that. It's 9 o'clock CST time. And yeah, that's it. We're also publishing some videos on YouTube in French also for educational content around Aavegotchi or about the news. And we have the Twitter to discuss and be part of the Gotchi gang move, I would say.
That's so awesome.
But yes, we deeply want, as I said before, to have the people involved in the process of creation. So I think at some point we will begin to do some Twitch live about some aspect of the creation of the experience. Like for example, when we are creating a new harvesters in the Vox Edit tool from Sandbox, we would like to be able to share it to the community. Just it could be just for people to come and see how do you do it. Also, it's more like a tutorial about how to use the tools. So at some point, if the process is going well, if we are continuing to produce that, we would like to stream that content to the Gotchi gang also.
Yeah, that would be so cool. It's like kind of watching how the sausage is made. You know, you're in there in the kitchen. You get to watch and see how everything's been put together. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
Exactly.
Very cool. I always refer to you guys as the French GMI because you guys are building and creating. You have your own community, your own following over there. And it's really cool. Really, really glad to see something awesome like this coming out of the French army. So
Yeah, and I think we are gonna begin to try to do more like English content. Yeah, in order for people to be able to follow, because yeah, French is quite kind of complicated. Or maybe if you want to learn about French, you can come during Thursday night. We would try to help you guys to understand it.
See, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking I'll come on there and try and brush up on my French.
Baguette. I see a lot
Yes.
of baguette since the beginning of the.
People seem to be really going after the baguettes, yeah.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, I would have to hop off, but yeah, thank you very much for the space given for this release, and yes, let's continue, and we're gonna continue the production. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing this with us. And join us next week. You'll be here next week with us, so that'll be
Great.
that'll be cool.
Thank you very much, guys. See you. Bye bye.
Thanks, man.
Later.
Later.
All right. A couple other final things. Last week we did get the golden NFT displays, Halloween decorations, and Christmas decorations finally added to the bazaar. And we've improved our process for adding things to the bazaar, so the next ones should be much quicker. Has anyone traded any golden NFT displays or Halloween decorations in the bazaar?
I haven't traded yet, but we were price watching yesterday and just looking at like even the small display NFT golden displays, like 380 ghosts or something. I'm happy
crazy.
I snuck one in at the very last minute.
Well,
I was
there's
like,
not that many of them. You
yeah,
guys
it's like,
didn't mint
what,
very
like
many.
34 or something like that.
Well, at Epic Gamers Guild, we went out and mint like half. We own half of them. I think we have like a decent amount. I think we have like 24 displays or something like that in gold. So our art we haven't even made our art gallery yet, but it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be all gold NFT displays.
Nice. I see a Skeledator for 1,000 ghosts.
Man, I regret not minting one of those. Actually, I should have done that because there aren't that many of them, right? Like I don't know how many there were. Like less than a dozen,
like,
I think.
Yeah, like a dozen maybe. Not a lot. And let's see. The other one was we did do a cool space with Cryptoon. I'm gonna call them Crypto on Goons because that's how I read it. Cryptoon Goons. Let me drop the recording for you guys. If that was Golden Cross did a cool space with them. We've been doing a lot of really interesting spaces with different projects recently. So we had the Cryptoon Goons and Aavegotchi was Jake can probably talk more about what went on there. But it sounded like it was a good space.
Yeah, it was a really good one. And just to encourage everybody, middle of the week, Wednesday in the US, it's Thursday morning in the East, and we're doing the Twitter Spaces channel there. So it's kind of like you've got the hangout here on Saturdays on the weekend, and then midweek we want to be able to do something with the Twitter Spaces. And so it's like while we're talking on the Spaces, there's also this Twitter Spaces channel here in the Discord where you can react in real time and do the text. And so 2 weeks ago was kind of crystal ball, look ahead to 2023, and we had a bunch of special guests. I think we had 4 different projects that are on Polygon join us and look ahead to the year ahead, and that was pretty powerful, including Getsukishi, who has some alpha about some Aavegotchi avatar being released in their 3D world as well. So we've got the sandbox and everything we're seeing from Gotchi Farmy there. We've got the actual Getsukishi team partnering with us to create something special for Gotchi Gang in their game. And then this last, just a couple days ago was, Cryptoon Goons, the Goons. And I was called out in the Twitter Spaces channel at one point. I think it was FaZe. Called me out. Apparently, I did a Freudian slip and called their community the Goobs community, and that's totally the fault of the fact that We've got a very similarly spelled name, big player here in the community named Goob. So I didn't do it on purpose. I'm just always talking to Goobs, and suddenly I'm talking to the goons. But
Crypto goobs.
yeah, yeah. The Toon Goons are a pretty cool community. They're art heavy. They're big on merch and like physicals, in terms of like physical wearables. And so they're mostly on Ethereum now, but there's some they're interested in Polygon. They're learning about Polygon, and there might be some announcements there. And in the meantime, their kind of first experiment with Polygon is going to be with the Figotchis. So they're going ahead and getting some Figotchi cards, and their lead artist that created all their PFPs is going to be creating something. And then I think they're going to probably do something like an art contest within their community to get some of the other talent coming in and also creating Figotchi art. So it's going to be something that plays out over a number of weeks or even months and will be long term. So a 2023 collaboration kind of play where we get to know each other and hang out together. So definitely give them a follow, get to know those guys, and just expect and be on the lookout, expecting to hear more from them. It was a really good conversation to kind of kick it off. Yeah,
That was a great.
and we'll be doing that more like I say, every week. So I think next week I'm even more excited about in terms of just it's going to be so good, so good, and we'll have some news on that coming out here really, really soon.
Yeah, I love those Wednesday spaces, and I'm gonna try and match the spaces and do this last week I did a Twitter thread, just an intro to Aavegotchi, but I want to drill down a little bit and maybe pick a topic that kind of links in some way to our spaces every week and do a Twitter thread, even if it's a short one right before, and then maybe somehow that ties in. But this is the one I did last week. And please share it. I've been posting it on people's timelines that are like, I got 3 ETH. What do I do with it? And I just send them this Twitter thread and just like an intro, like, hey, we got Aavegotchi over here. Check it out. But I definitely want to do more of these threads. I enjoy writing, so it's it's probably going to be doing that more consistently now. Be good for the Twitter channel as well.
Have you tried using ChatGPT to generate threads? I've heard it's pretty good, but I'm curious how much it knows about Aavegotchi.
I was gonna say, I felt like your tone changed, Hefe. Your voice is that ChatGPT or is that you?
Well, actually, we tried using a Lens AI generative tool. So Lens actually has something that's like a mid-journey kind of thing on Lens now. You can give it a prompt. And I think we put last night Danny DeVito in the Gotchiverse, and we broke it.
Yeah.
We broke it. Yeah, we broke it. So it doesn't work anymore. So it was too much for it to handle. It's too much processing power to put Danny DeVito in the Gotchiverse.
Makes sense. To be expected.
Yeah, but
No,
the
it's
chat
crazy.
GPT could be interesting.
Yeah, there's just so much stuff coming out of that corner of the tech space right now. It's amazing.
Like that AI, man, it's getting creative and it's doing things that I didn't really I never thought AI would be capable of producing anything of impressive, like artistically. But we saw, like, not long ago, like there was an AI artwork that actually won at like a county fair art contest or something like that, and it was an AI generated work and it won the top spot. Nobody knew it was AI generated. And now you have schools, like many universities in the States, like banning chat GPT, for obvious reasons altogether, because it's given people in the educational space a huge edge, right, with the chat GPT. I mean, I wish I had that when I was writing my exams, because
Sir Linkiest is acing all his exams right now. Dan, doesn't this somewhat tie into some Aavegotchi alpha, some lore? No, maybe we can talk about another day.
Yeah, there is something in the works, but yeah, nothing we can really share yet. But I do want to see how much does ChatGPT know about Aavegotchi. A thread would be a good thread.
Well, I think there's a cutoff, right? So I guess it'd have the first year down, maybe. Somebody said 2021. I think there's like
Yeah,
it might have
yeah,
the bonding.
they don't know about fake gotchis yet.
Right, right.
But yeah, it'd be cool to see what it does actually know.
But this was an amazing. We packed a lot in the last 2 hours. We're not even at 2 hours now. We packed in. I got to hop off first, guys. But yeah, this was a great first week of the year. Happy New Year, everybody! And
Great.
I feel re-energized. I think it's gonna be a really good year. We got a lot to do.
This
Yep,
is our
I'll
year.
be I'll be heading out too soon as well. But I did want to ask Hefe for tomorrow. Do we want to give everyone here a preview of what we'll be discussing if we got that ready?
Yeah, I think part of what we're going to discuss is our ETH Denver trip there. The other thing there is I put together the financials like for all the funded projects last year. So I just wanted to quickly go over that and actually cover some of the things that we might still need to fund to tie up loose ends. And so that's what I got on my end. And then you actually mentioned that we might want to discuss. You mentioned it during our discussion here right now. That you might want to discuss something at the DAO tomorrow as well. I'll add that to the agenda. I can't recall what that was.
I can kind of give another overview of it's the bonding curve and whole USD situation. I mean, there's not much else to really go over, I guess. It would just be basically hearing different community members' opinions about that topic and see what the general consensus is in terms of basically how. I mean, we can't really affect what MakerDAO is going to do. All we can really do is try to be proactive and handle the situation in the best way. So really, it would be a kind of a community discussion between any parties who want to voice their opinion.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. We'll have some space for that. And then also the final thing that is on the agenda for tomorrow is discussing the current iteration of the DAO Executive Committee that we're proposing, which would replace the DTF. It would be a new structure for the way that DAO would approach like funding projects, reviewing proposals, endorsing proposals, addressing the governance aspect. I think that should be a conversation we have as well. And I know Mikey J's put together a chart on that, so we can have a look at that as well, like the latest iteration of that. So yeah, absolutely. I see Hardcore has actually dropped and yeah, we got new templates now this year. Hopefully that kind of helps unify our Miro boards a little bit. We're trying to have a process down with our DAO meetings and be a little bit more efficient because 2023 in my opinion is the year of kind of professionalism and kind of polishing things up. So the live stream should be getting better with the studio, and then we also have a Thraxted media kit for the DAO. So all the DAO media is going to be kind of branded. The newsletter, the live streams, all that stuff is going to look a little bit more uniform, as if it's coming from the same place. So yeah, those are just some of the things we're working on and some of the things we're going to discuss tomorrow.
Awesome. Sounds like a good meeting.
Oh yeah. We're looking forward to that.
Cool. How'd everyone do with your channeling? And was anything happening in the Gotchiverse in the last 2 hours? Been literally just so busy with all the alpha. But maybe we can do something in the Gotchiverse next week as well. A little
drop some more
smooth.
turkeys down.
It's been smooth on my end. I've been channeling. It's been good.
Nice.
Yeah, I picked up a nice bag just walking around. Actually, I didn't do much channeling this time around. I was just chatting with everybody here, but I still picked up like pretty much a full bag between two gotchis just walking around. There's lots of Alchemica. So
yeah, we are. I do want to let you guys know we have switched to a 2-week release schedule for the Gotchiverse instead of the 1 week because there was a lot of planning involved in each release, kind of each weekly release, and it just took a lot of time to plan for a week and then have to go back and plan for the next week. So we're 2 week is pretty standard for Agile Sprint, so we'll be doing the 2 weeks. We're not going to be shipping less. It'll just be shipping every 2 weeks instead of every week. So we just wanted to let you guys know that. But there are some major features in the works. So even like next week, I think there's a couple small things, but we're actually preparing for some very big major features. Hint: Alchemica depositing. Hint.
Oh, I think I might know what that is. But I think something we might have covered it during our hangout here today. But do we have a estimated like release date from when we get the arena back online?
So that's the Alchemica depositing is kind of part of that. It's one of the prerequisites that will go into the tipping, and so they're all kind of, we have an internal roadmap for where the arena needs to be, and tipping is part of the next iteration. So I can't give an exact date yet, but we are aiming for end of January. We'll see if we can make it, because we're off to a good start so far with the year, but there's a lot to do, and so yeah, we are still aiming for end of January, like we mentioned in the initial roadmap. But the tipping and the Alchemica depositing is a huge feature.
Yeah, that's awesome. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I want to be able to fatten up my gotchi so I can run around and get killed.
So depositing will be for the player, won't be for the gotchi. So it's gonna enable a lot of interesting gameplay within the gotchiverse that currently is not really possible.
Yeah, see, I thought I knew what you were talking about when you first dropped that alpha, but now I have no idea. So I'm gonna have to wait.
Yeah. Yep. This is probably one of my. I'm so excited about this feature. Just the fact that it unlocks a lot of kind of gameplay that is currently everything is on chain right now, which is awesome. But at the same time, we're kind of throttled by Polygon sometimes, and so having more things kind of off chain instant will bring it more towards a feeling of real gameplay rather than everything having to be an on-chain transaction. So part of that is getting the Alchemica into the game and not linked to the gotchi pocket, where it's not safe in the gotchi pocket. Your gotchi dies, you lose it, right? So we need somewhere safer for that Alchemica.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I like that dynamic of losing your Alchemica in the arena. It reminds me of like the wilderness in RuneScape. You would lose all your items. Like there was something to lose when you lost. It wasn't just like, hey, I lost, I'm back in the game again. It's like you lost all your Alchemica, man. You're back at square one.
Yeah, and there'll be more things to drop than just Alchemica as well. Hint, hint. All right, that's enough alpha for today.
Oh man.
Oh crap! What are we doing? Come on. We're 6 minutes to the end of the 2
Come
hours.
on. I'm gonna be thinking about this at night, like waking up in the middle of the night, thinking about what the next
Sweating.
feature is. Yes. What's the next feature Coder Dan's gonna be shipping?
We gotta wait 2 weeks.
Goobs, how far down the road is dropping another tokens in? Well, they're all kind of part of the same system. So once we get this big feature done, I think it's going to unlock a lot of things. So yeah. Any update on allowing lens NFTs to be displayed in the verse? The main blocker with that is really just like, how do we curate? I saw someone mention the artwork in the Gotchiverse with the mosaic tiles earlier, and F that guy. Like, he's been banned from the Discord already, and he basically did that as a rage quit move. So it's there. It is what it is. We're not gonna like I said, we're not gonna change the on-chain blockchain state. We're also like really don't want to start censoring things like that in the Gotchiverse. Like it exists on Twitter, it exists on Lens, all the protocols have it. It is what it is, right? But if we allow any Lens NFT, then it could be even worse than that. There could be a lot of stuff that gets in. So one idea was to have possibly like a queue for the Lens NFTs, and if you really want your Lens NFT, maybe you could get it in the queue, and maybe there's a small fee to do it. Various ways to do it, I think. But yeah, I think it would be cool to have Lens NFTs. We just got to figure out a way to do it in a way that we're not going to introduce a bunch of attack vectors for the Gotchiverse.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Gotchi Lodge might be the perfect place for your Lens NFTs because, we don't want to see everybody's Lens NFTs. So
Yeah,
sometimes it's more of a personal thing, like your profile, whatever matches who you are, and maybe that makes more sense. I don't know. I just always thought the Gotchi Lodge could be a great home for the Lens NFTs.
Yeah, I mean, I think a queue where you one thing I don't like about the current queue that we have, and that could be a potential improvement, would be some form of staking for when you put a piece in the queue. Obviously, you're burning a card, but it would be interesting if maybe you had some form of a stake that you put down, and you would get that back when the piece gets through the queue. But if it didn't get through the queue, it got flagged and then it got rejected, that stake would basically go to the first, like the 10 flags, the people that flagged it first. But the flaggers would also need to put some form of stake down as well. And if they flagged it and it didn't get through, or it did get through, then that stake would go to the fake Gotchi person. So yeah, that could be an interesting idea to explore for a QV2, and possibly for some form of other queue like a Lens queue. So just a lot of things to think about. But having currently no staking, no slashing for the queue is a little bit of a problem. Although I think it's actually been really good. It's so far, like, the behavior of the queue has generally been pretty on point from what I've seen.
I think it's improved big time since the beginning. Like when we first had the fake Gotchi cards introduced, and they're fairly, they're half the price of what they are now. I think as the price keeps going up too, the quality will improve too, because there's the opportunity cost of making a not a great card and losing that card is too great. And so I think we'll just see better and better artwork shown up in the queue.
Yeah, speaking of the queue, there's some Gotchi Records just dropped 7 pieces. Looks like each of these, it's got the artwork, but it's also it's music too. It's pretty cool. I'll have to have a listen of it.
Oh, I did not see this. I think this must be just recent because we didn't see this on the curators segment we did last night.
I think it just came in while we were on this hangout. They just dropped them.
We were wondering who Gotchi Records is because they've had a Twitter account since early Gotchi days. So maybe they're waiting for this. This is their moment.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
I also like that piece by Excalibur, the Taniguku piece, the frog, the DJ. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And there's a one of it as well. There's a lot going on in that piece.
Well, cool, friends. I'm gonna head out here. Gotta keep resting up, and make sure I don't push myself too hard. But still feeling good after this hangout. It's been a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you and looking forward to this year and our first DAO call of the year. So that's tomorrow at 2 p.m. UTC.
Cool. Have a great day, friends.
Later.
Good day, sir.
Out later.
Later, y'all. Peace.
Before everybody runs off, there is a Orium Network Twitter space happening on Tuesday with Unlock Finance. We're doing a partnership with them, so tune into that. I'll drop a link into the chat real quick. But take it easy, friends.